Hey, it's another segment of Flow with Tarot. Listen, we're going to dive into this very fast because I don't know how long my makeshift setup is going to last. This phone keeps sliding, so I'm just going to talk through this really quick. Again, this is not a reading per se, but perhaps if you get something from my I don't want to say investigation, but my talk about the card that we pull for the day, then use it. You make sure you use the wisdom that you get from today and apply it to your life. Okay, so the card that I'm just pulling is the Nine of Wands. Okay, so wands, we already know that is connected, that suit is connected to the element of fire. Now, so off top with this card with Nine of Wands, I am reminded of a pattern, okay, that used to be very prevalent in my life. And and currently I have to be very intentional about the way that I take action and how I feel about the action that I take. And what am I talking about here? So you have a vision, or you have a certain a result, okay, that you desire. We'll just keep it simple. And so you know that there are practical steps that you're going to take. You're perhaps calling a person, calling people for support, sending out emails, okay, that are aligned with your desired result, all right? And taking other actions. I don't know, perhaps you need to travel somewhere. Maybe you need to, I don't know, write some words in a journal. Whatever the action steps are, okay? There are action steps that we would call practical, right? And so what can happen is that if you are not seeing the desired result, and a lot of times this comes up if you're not seeing a certain result within a certain amount of time, your mind kind of starts doing this self-interrogation, okay? You go into this self-interrogation where you're saying, okay, I've taken these action steps. They felt good. They felt like the right thing to do at the time, but I'm not getting the desired result. I'm not seeing it. It doesn't feel like it's working. It doesn't seem like the action steps that I've taken are working. All right. And so then what you tell yourself is, okay, maybe I need to backtrack and do all those things again. Maybe I didn't talk to the right person. Maybe I didn't call the right person. Maybe I didn't go to the right place. Maybe I should have gone to a place or maybe I should have accepted an invitation that I turned down. Maybe I should have done this, and all these things. That self-interrogation, that is exhausting. And so I used to do that, okay? It's an energetic pattern, which in turn became a behavioral pattern. What you have to understand is this. Number one, yes, there are action steps that you take, okay? Even coupled with doing your magical working, yes, there are going to be actionable steps that you will take, that you'll be guided to take. It won't just be you just taking steps just because you feel like you have to do something. No, those action steps will be very intentional, based on the desired result that you want, and based on your working that you have done, okay? You'll be guided into the steps to take. But the exhaustion comes in when you allow the ego to jump in and say, well, see, all those things that you did, it's not working. You need to do more. You need to do more. You need to do them over again and over again and over again. Perhaps you need to do another working, okay, because what you did not work. And what you need to do is have some sort of practice to where you don't fall into self-interrogation traps, basically. Because You can get so exhausted to the point where the next action step for you to take is right there in front of you, but because you're so mentally exhausted from interrogating yourself and really tearing down the action steps that you've taken instead of celebrating yourself for the action steps that you've taken, the next action step could be right there, but you can't see it because you're clouded by self-interrogation. You're exhausted. You don't feel like doing anything at that point. And that's what can happen. That's what I feel with this card in this moment, okay? So the action steps that you take, whether you see the desired result right away, or even if you see a movement toward that desired result right away or not, it doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't working. Each step that you take, those steps can build on each other. All right? It's kind of like a domino effect, but in the most positive way, in the most up-leveled way, in the most upgraded way, in the most forward movement way. And the reason I'm saying it that way is because oftentimes when we hear the phrase domino effect, our mind immediately goes to, oh, it's something bad happened and then it just kind of everything just toppled over. No, a domino effect, we can look at this in the most positive way. Each of your action steps that you're taking, one action step builds on the other. Okay? So I just want you to actually, and I know I said this was not a reading, but I want you to be inspired by that. I want you to look at the action steps that you have taken toward your desired result, and you need to be excited about that. Celebrate that, okay? Because in that celebration, it's going to change the lens. It's going to change the energy in which you approach the next step. Okay, you're not going to take the next step with this frantic and anxious energy because you feel like the last step that you took wasn't the right one. Do you see? So your excitement in the steps that you've already taken, giving yourself the gift of time to celebrate those steps and to continue in your upward movement. All right? So, yeah. So don't wear yourself out with the self-interrogation of whether you took the right step or not. If you needed somebody to tell you took the right step, yeah, I'm telling you, you took the right action step. Okay? Now just take another one. Take another one. And while you're taking this next one, celebrate your desired result. All right? So let me know what your takeaways are from today's segment of Flow with Tarot. And until next time, stay in your magic.